In today's video, we're going to be going over the top 10 PVE cookies at the current state of the game that you are going to want to build. Diving right into the very first cookie, and that's going to bring us to BTS. It does not matter which BTS member it is that you are looking to build, they all share the exact same skill. However, it's no secret that currently right now in the game, they are literally the best cookie when it comes to support, as far as the buffs that they provide, the mitigation, and also the healing. When it comes to the toppings, cooldown is going to be the best to run on your BTS cookies. Literally stacking up as much cooldown as you possibly can is going to be ideal. Diving into the second cookie for the top 10 PvE cookies at the current state of the game, that's going to bring us into Wildberry. Literally ever since he was dropped into the game, the guy has been crushing it in not only PvE, but also PvP. He's kind of across the board when it comes to utilizing it in different types of content, and it's for a good reason. I mean, he provides a damage resistance buff, he provides a AoE stun literally on every single hit on his normal attack, and then also provides a much larger one and more damage on utilizing his skill. When it comes to the overall toppings, it's going to be a full solid almond set, stacking up as much damage resistance as you possibly can muster with whatever toppings you currently have. The next cookie we've got on the top 10 PvE is going to be none other than the Grand Support Cotton. This is going to come to no surprise. For most people out there in the Cookie Run Kingdom community. Cotton is just dominating when it comes to the most valuable player. In my opinion, should be considered like the MVP so far of Cookie Run Kingdom, because she just provides a lot of value. No matter what stage of the game that you are, whether you're a new player or a late game player, at the end of the day, the healing that's provided, the minions that's provided, the minions buff that are provided are just unmatched. And currently to this day, she's still probably the best choice when it comes to utilizing a healer and damage dealer on your team. When it comes to the overall toppings, most people are going to be running a full Swift chocolate set, focusing in over 24%. Again, this is going to be driven more towards the guild boss battle system, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure you can utilize her skill as often as possible in any situation that you are currently running her in. Now, the next cookie we've got, and that's going to be none other than Vampire Cookie. Now, I've said it time and time again here, Vampire Cookie is the best single target damage dealer in the game. Like, hands down. So if you are looking to build cookies specifically for PvE, Vampire is going to be one you want to put on your list to build, especially going up against boss stages, or maybe you are looking to snipe somebody like, you know, further on in the back of their line, or maybe you need somebody that you're struggling to keep alive. Vampire Cookie can do that now with their magic candy. As for the overall best toppings, honestly, it's just going to be running full Searing Raspberry build is probably the most universal. Every now and then when it comes to the arena, people are swapping out one or two of the toppings for something like Swift Chocolate to give him more cooldown so he goes, you know, a little bit sooner. Or sometimes I've even seen, you know, a solid almond thrown in there just to add a little bit more damage resistance according to whatever the enemy or the opponent you're going up against. But majority of the time, it's running full Searing Raspberry, stacking up as much attack as you possibly can. Next up we've got, that's going to be the one and only legendary Black Pearl. Now, one of the biggest things you have to consider when it comes to running PvE content in Cookie Run Kingdom is going to be AoE damage, and also what comes along with that, whether it's going to be buffs or debuffs, and Black Pearl does not disappoint. Absolutely going to be somebody that's going to add a ton of AoE damage to your team, and like I said, it's going to offer a lot of value, and with her being a legendary cookie, you know she's going to dominate. As far as overall toppings go, I would say just a full Swift Chocolate build is going to be the most universal that almost everybody is running. Yes, there are some exceptions. You can run a mixed build, you can run a full solid almond build like in the higher tiers of arena, but honestly, the best or most universal route is going to be a full Swift Chocolate build, and you're balancing as much damage resistance as you possibly can alongside cooldown, and the timings and percentages are going to really depend on your team composition and what you're running. The next cookie we've got on this list, that's going to be the Ancient Dark Cacao. Just like with Wildberry, ever since Dark Cacao has been added into the game, they have literally been killing it in multiple types of content. We've got the arena, we've got the PvE aspect. Literally, it just boils down to the AoE damage, the slight defense break, not as good as Dark Choco, but that's not really what you use him for. It's got the injury debuff, and on top of that, we also have the Zap ability, very similar to Twizzly Gummy, which then will strip the enemy's shields, which you guys know for Cookie Alliance and for certain stages in the World Exploration, that's absolutely a must, and having a Dark Cacao will make a massive difference to your overall gameplay. Now for the overall toppings, running a full solid almond build. Your main focus is stacking up as much damage resistance as you possibly can. A little bit of cooldown is not going to hurt, and a little bit of attack or HP sometimes is going to be required for certain stages, things like the Living Abyss for guild bosses, but either way, you want to make sure you're stacking up as much damage resistance as your primary focus. The next cookie we've got on this list is going to be none other than Espresso. One of the biggest things that Espresso provides for your team is going to be AoE damage and crowd control. Two big important things when it comes to, PvE content in Cookie Run Kingdom. You got a lot of different waves, a lot of different enemies. You want to take them out as fast as possible, and by doing damage to all of them is the key. Espresso does exactly that. Also, utilizing their magic candy now provides the AoE stun, provides the injury, and additional damage. Absolutely going to be somebody you want to build. And also to further that, they also are another good investment over time and a good use of resources because Espresso is also being utilized in the PvE space. So investing in one cookie will save you resources. As far as the overall toppings go, there are a couple of different ways you can build Espresso, but the most common one you're going to see is going to be a full searing raspberry build, stacking up some damage resistance as you can muster, some attack, and then also some cooldown. And it's not uncommon that you'll see a couple of mixed builds, maybe a couple searing raspberries and solid almonds. It's very rare that you do see, searing raspberries and swift chocolates, but it can definitely be a thing depending on what type of content you're going up against. The next cookie we've got is going to be very similar to Espresso. That's going to be none other than Squid Ink. Just like with Espresso here, Squid Ink provides a megaton of AoE damage, and if you haven't noticed the pattern, they also have a magic candy that further enhances their overall skills. If you are looking for a great AoE damage dealer, either Espresso and Squid Ink, or both of them, would make a very good option. Now, my Squid Ink here currently is going to be utilized for the guild boss battle, and that's why I've got a crazy funky mix when it comes to the overall toppings. I've got 3 searing raspberry, 1 apple jelly, and 1 solid almond. This is specifically to target individual substats that I'm currently looking to. You can see the cooldown here of 3.9%, 7.4% for the attack speed, 25.5% for the damage resistance, 9 for crit, and then 32.5% for the overall attack. Again, this is not going to be the end-all be-all build. This is just strategically what I'm currently using for the guild boss. A lot of the times you'll see Squid Ink running a full searing raspberry build, stacking up as much attack as you possibly can, with the exception of some attack speed, according to whatever comp you are currently running. Most people are going to run Squid Ink with the robe treasure buff to increase that attack speed, and with that, you want to make sure you do have the highest amount of attack to receive the robe treasure. The next cookie we got on the top 10 for PvE is going to be Eclair. And as I've mentioned time and time again, this is going to be another support cookie that Dev Sisters absolutely love and made completely busted when they dropped into the game. The weakness debuff that they provide, the HP shield if they happen to kill somebody, is literally unmatched, and not only that, pairs very well with other damage dealers. Definitely going to be somebody you want to look in order to build, and not only that, for me personally, when I was running episode 14, Eclair was my saving grace. I literally ran 3 healers, a tank and Eclair to clear most of the stages in episode 14 on normal mode. So absolutely take that into consideration. Build an Eclair if you haven't done so. Also, not only that, they're very good for the guild boss battle system and also being utilized in the overall arena. So if you are looking for that investment when it comes to your resources, Eclair is a very good way to go. Now, Eclair's kind of tricky when it comes to the overall toppings. We've got 3 different sets that you can build. You can run a full searing raspberry build. The main focus here obviously is going to be the attack, doing as much as you possibly can, stacking up whatever damage resistance that you possibly can muster. The second build would be a full solid almond build. Again, this one's a little bit more focused. We're going to be doing more damage resistance as we possibly can to aid in their survivability, and then stacking up a decent amount of cooldown. This is going to be more driven towards like the arena, especially for like Super Mayhem that's currently going on right now in the game. And then the last set is going to be running a full Swift Chocolate build. You're really only going to see this build in something like the Cookie Alliance because it just pairs a specific way with the other cookies in team that you are currently running. However, you guys just need to know what content you're going up against and then build the toppings accordingly. And then last but not least, we've got for the top 10 PvE cookies currently at the state of the game is going to be none other than Macaron Cookie. Macaron Cookie is going to be the brand new magic AoE damage dealer, buffer, supporter, you name it. Macaron is going to be busted and an absolute must build, in my personal opinion, for PvE for any player out there. Literally 2 of the top guild boss battles that are currently running right now in the game are utilizing the brand new Macaron Cookie. So if you are looking to rank in those individual modes, definitely going to be looking to build a Macaron. Not only that, the AoE damage and, like I said, the additional buffs that, Macaron does provide is unmatched and definitely worth building for the overall PvE. When it comes to the overall toppings, utilizing Swift Chocolates, you want to stack up as much cooldown as you possibly can, and very similar to Cotton Cookie, you're aiming for that 24%. You can see we've got 24.5%, and this is going to be what you're going to use on Macaron majority of the time. And there you go, that's going to be wrapping up the top 10 PvE cookies at the current state of the game that you guys should absolutely be building. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel. Also, check out my most recent tier list so you guys know exactly what cookies are worth investing in, and you can do so by clicking right here.